In yesterday's video, we spoke about how Bitcoin was likely to get a bounce off of the median daily HPDR, and in today's video, we'll be speaking about why it is now time to lock in, to use that absolutely terrible meme, because because things actually probably do happen quite fast over this next, I would say, 7 to 10 day spread. But before we get to that, I want to say Merry Thanksgiving to all of the celebrators out there. Of course, it is Thanksgiving Day, and I won't be celebrating because I'm in a country that doesn't celebrate. But we do have a Black Friday celebration, which will award you 20% off of any one of the programs or services with the code BLACK in all capitals, which you're going to find a link to the Teachable School in the description below. And not only that, but actually the Quant Prime service with that same code BLACK is 25% off for the entirety of the subscription, which is the biggest discount that we do. And also, I mean, it's the most important service, at least towards my own trading, because I mean, that's allowed me to create, test, and automate my trades, which has changed basically the way that I do everything. All right, sweet. So let's pick up where we left off on yesterday. Again, there was that nice bounce off of the daily HPDR. That was coming in combination with a couple other things as well, namely over here on the 6-hour time frame, potential for regular bullish divergence. We had actually 1, 2, 3 draws coming off of these last 3 lows. Very, very close lows right here, but good enough nonetheless to get a short-term bounce, again, on a volatility contraction play as well. And even the 6-hour jewel was turning up. So all those things, you know, did amount for a nice bounce in order. Now, we did set out the condition for Bitcoin to close above about $96,000 in order to kind of green light the next phase, I guess, if you want to call it that, which is likely a range forming here, which doesn't necessarily imply that Bitcoin needs to actually break out and continue on with the run to the upside in the short term. But, you know, this starts to become more and more likely a major bottoming area. Again, this bounce also, I should add, coming off of the 50% retracement right here. You know, do you need to be aware of all of these things? Obviously not, but you know, when you do see multiple things in confluence, well, you know, it's good do typically. Anyways, I now want to get into the explanation of why I think that things are going to happen, you know, kind of fast here. And why this next, let's say, let me actually bring up my calendar here. Yeah, this next, I would say 10 days, this next 10 or so days, likely to include some very important price action. So what I've done here is what I always do when it's close to a new month, which is mark off the monthly closures for Bitcoin, in this case, looking at December's, and then marking off when the low of December typically happens. So I've gone through each and every one of these past Decembers here, and I marked off and recorded the date of the low, like what day of the month was the low. And if you're actually unfamiliar with this, we've been doing this for quite some time now, and funnily enough, over the past 3 months, these have actually hit nearly to the exact fucking date on average, which is, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily expect that to happen, to be honest with you, but yes, here's what I found. Bitcoin December lows on average come within about the first 10 days of the month. Now, if I bifurcate that data to only looking at when the macro trend was up, that date goes significantly down. Actually, it goes actually below 4 days. So very, very early on within the month. And if we look at the halving years or the election years, or whatever the fuck, you know, nonsense you want to put on top of it. I mean, it's not nonsense, but you get what I mean. And we look at 2012, 2016, and 2020. These dates in these green highlighted bars came, I mean, I would say even earlier, the 2nd, the 5th, and in 2020, the 9th. I should add that on the 2021, it was pretty close to the lows, like earlier than that as well. But yeah, technically it was the 9th, or in some exchanges, the 11th. But yeah, you know, again, coming in generally pretty damn low. So if Bitcoin is going to maintain the macro uptrend, which I think it probably does, but of course that is a big if, these lows likely come in very, very early on within the month. In fact, you can see right here, out of all of the times when the macro trend was up during December, well, every time it did close within 7 days, actually. No, the 2020th one, again, yeah, that was day number 9, but it was very, very close before that as well. Anyways, yes, okay, so cool there. Cool there. Great analysis. No, my point is that, you know, these lows, the low for December very likely to come early on within the month. Could it be that the low of December is lower than the low that we saw yesterday? Possibly, yes. But again, you know, that doesn't really allow for like too much time on this current correction to find its low if it hasn't already. So when we go into the next chart right here, I do want to also cover that the 12-hour time frame, the 12-hour and the daily actually are printing some hidden bullish divergence here coming off of this last low. So now we're seeing the bullish divergence on the 6-hour time frame kind of spill into these higher term time frames, which obviously still remain within their uptrends, at least for now, and in both the 12-hour and yes, the daily as well, showing that hidden bullish divergence. So Bitcoin probably holds this range, I suspect, coming into the early portion of next month, and then we probably see the lows early on within this month as well. Again, we're still seeing Bitcoin work off of these extreme BBWP conditions over here, but it is now around 50 percentile. So this could theoretically expand at any moment, but the lower that it does come, the more and more likely that it does get towards that next expansion phase, and that's probably going to be the next major extreme read, and that, in my opinion, is probably going to be the next major correction. Just personal opinion, but of course, what I wanted to get into as well is follow up on yesterday's stochastic momentum analysis as well. We do see that the daily is working its way down to this long-term trendline regression that Bitcoin has been putting in the lows since September of this year. So the September lows are connected with the October lows, and the and those are connected with the November lows. In fact, I'll just mark it off with these red vertical bars so you can see for yourself. And we will see this very likely tested, maybe not today, but probably tomorrow, Friday. And you can see that these lows were, pretty much the price lows around that time. In fact, this one, you could say it happened on the divergence right there perfectly, or if you go on that first test, still it's very, very close to each other, to be honest. But yeah, in this case, we will see this test again, not today, probably Friday. I guess it could perhaps happen as late as Saturday, but I wouldn't really be expecting it other than that. So, if this holds true yet again, does this provide the impetus for the next, major higher low in a series of higher lows that have been going on, since early September? Well, perhaps yes, so we'll see. Of course, this does imply that the current range is going to be the current range for, at least for the time being, meaning that Bitcoin can, as we went over yesterday, can very easily spend some time, maybe spike back up to 97 or so, come back down, retest around these lows. That's fine. Maybe that happens early on in December, and then actually does try an upside move. But I would say now that I would not really be looking for Bitcoin to actually really confirm a major breakout here until you see a 4-hour closure above about $98,500 or a 12-hour closure above 97.5. One of those two would do it for me, and obviously daily, the same condition as a 12-hour right there. Now, of course, if Bitcoin were to break below the 50% level right here, again, the same sort of things do still apply. Looking at the next 618 and probably the 786 at that point, probably looking at Bitcoin down to about $88,000. Not a humongous percentage move right there. Still would be a higher low overall in the higher term timeframes. So again, that's why I do say that this is kind of like a delicate situation right here, because can Bitcoin come back down around those lows? Yeah, absolutely. Can it go a little bit lower? Sure. But if we're going off of the December statistics over here, we're probably going to find the lows early on within the month, within the first week. And so, timing wise, that probably happens kind of fast. So yeah, anyways, just going through my notes, make sure that I hit everything as well. Yeah, I also want to give a special shout out to the quantum wave bands released yesterday as well. I've been getting a lot of questions about this, which is really, really good. Just wanted to show some entries and in trades that it's been doing over here. In fact, what I'll do is that every every video I kind of check in at the end and just see, what is this thing done? The hourly time frame, not so sure about this long right here, but fair enough, not going to be perfect. Again, it's the long-term results that we're interested in. And then of course, if we go over here to the 30-minute time frame for Bitcoin, I'm curious if it has anything going on here as well. Let's give it a moment to load and see what the hell is going on with this one. Equity curve down here, but I want to see the trades, or actually no, it hasn't taken any trades in the last day, so fair enough. Anyways, that is in the description below for you as well. Like I said, I'll continue to update on this because I think the best way to present this thing is with, transparency, because this is more of like a black box type of thing where, it's very much done for you. But again, focus on very short-term scalping. So understand that if you're getting into something like this, you're going to miss the big massive moves, the big trending moves. It's not designed for that. But yeah, anyways, that's where we'll end off for today. As always, I want to wish you the best of best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.